For 6 years, I was deeply involved in New Age spirituality and occult practices, and I found myself in what I can only describe as active spiritual conflict. During that time, there were consistent patterns I learned to recognize, not in theory, but in real life. These were the top 3 signs that, for me, signaled an attack was coming. Again, this is discernment through experience, not assumption. I want to share them with you for awareness, especially if you know that you are currently under witchcraft attacks. The first sign was persistent, unexplainable headaches. This would come suddenly, often alongside spiritual activity, and they would lift after disengagement. Scripture shows us that spiritual pressure can affect the body. David writes in Psalm 32 about physical heaviness connected to internal distress. And Proverbs 17:22 tells us that a crushed spirit affects physical health. This means when something is out of pattern, pause and discern. The second sign was extreme clumsiness, and that's important. I'm not talking about the occasional dropping something or normal accidents. I'm referring to repeated disruption, like bumping into things, dropping everything, feeling disoriented in familiar spaces, and just thinking, what is going on? Scripture tells us in 1 Corinthians 14, verse 33, that God is not the author of confusion. Again, this doesn't mean every accident is spiritual, but when confusion shows up suddenly and repeatedly, discernment is required. The third sign was relationships falling apart, and this one hurt the most. Not when I did something wrong, not when I avoided accountability, but when I knew deep down inside I was innocent, and people began pulling away anyway. And it wasn't just one person, it was multiple relationships at the same time. Scripture shows this pattern repeatedly. David speaks about unexplained rejection in Psalm 31, and Jesus himself tells us in John 15 that rejection can come when alignment shifts. I'm sharing this to offer clarity. The Bible tells us in Ephesians 6:12 that spiritual opposition exists, but it never tells us to obsess over it. Discernment doesn't panic. Discernment prays and examines patterns. So if something feels off, do not respond with accusation. Draw closer to God, because clarity comes from the light, not from fear.